This is exact words he said. He goes, "I just took a massive dump in your bathroom." Sorry about that.
Hey, how's it going, everyone? Portable Trevor here, and today we have an awesome guest that I've really been looking forward to. Please welcome Scott Bowling. What's up, man?
Hey, what's up, Trevor?
Nothing much, man. So Scott has this YouTube show called Good Company, and it is one of the most interesting shows ever. It's like VH1 meets like Cribs or something like that. But
Dude,
Scott, I love the show, and I've been very honored to be a part of the show too by editing a lot of the episodes. Me and my roommate Michaela, we've really enjoyed editing all those, and Chase, my roommate Chase too. So, Scott, tell us a little bit about Good Company. What is it?
Sure. Good Company started going on 3 years now.
Nice.
Originally, I was going to do like a podcast, and one of my good friends, Kurt Thomas, he's been in my house before, and he's like, "Dude, your basement is so awesome, and you should just do like a little video thing and with your podcast, do a video podcast kind of deal." And my friend Kurt is actually he's an artist, and he has a couple of videos out, so he kind of hooked me up with his video guy, whose name was Dustin at the time. So Dustin came over here, and we did about 10 episodes. I was a little nervous at the beginning. I was like, I've never been on camera. And I don't know, like, if you've ever experienced anything like that, where it's like you have an idea, and it's you kind of have somebody that pushes you and says, "Do it." And I was like, okay, here we go. So we did kind of a podcast format, but we had it on camera, and going on 3 years now and 50-something episodes. It's just grown, but I never knew it was going to be this long. Like, I just thought, I was just kind of like in the moment. I was like, okay, cameras, cool. Let's film it, And I took the name Good Company from my friend Kurt. He had a song called Good Company at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just kind of funny looking back at it now, like how long it's gone and how just much time and effort I've put into this thing. And of course, you guys. So that's kind of how it started. To answer your question, it was going to be a podcast, and then it went to kind of a video, kind of a YouTube show. That's kind of how it evolved, I guess.
That's awesome. And you're in the studio right now, which is basically your basement.
I am. So the cameras, like, this is kind of like the background, and we film at the bar, which is neat. I think Sammy Hagar from Van Halen kind of does this similar thing. He does interviews at the bar as well, and he jams too. So originally my show was going to have, like, I was thinking, I'm going to interview people and play music with them every episode, and that just didn't work out. It works out sometimes, and sometimes it doesn't. I know other people do that. That was kind of like my goal, but it's pretty hard not only getting people at your house for the interview, but also bring their instruments and play. So,
dude, that's awesome. And your show is very music based, and it seems like you have a lot of like old metal musicians like come in and talk to you. So, who was your very first like big interview that you got like nervous about? Do you ever get nervous before your interviewees come over?
So I've always get a little bit nervous. When I first started the show, I got way more nervous, but I still get a little nervous now because it's a lot of time and effort, and a lot of people are taking their time to be on the show. So I get more nervous because I don't want to let them down. But to answer your question, I do remember the very first big guy I had, and I mean, it was big to me because I grew up listening to him, was Michael Sweet from Striper. So he came over. I think he was like the first big guy to come over, and it was just a weird thing, I was so it was just nerve-wracking, the whole thing. It was weird. I was like, oh man, this guy's done a million interviews. I don't know if I can do this or not. And I just thought about this. When he came over, I was so nervous about trying to remember his catalog because it's kind of a discography. Like, I try to go through each album. So in preparation for Michael Swedish Striper, I had all his vinyl records. And that was my idea from the start. I was like, well, I'm just going to have a stack of his records at the bar. And that way I won't forget. So we're just go in order. I'll hold up one of his albums. Boom. What about your next record? And that caught on. So after that, I was like, whoa, that's really cool. Nobody really does that. Nobody keeps their albums during the interview and kind of holds them up. Hey, look at this album, you know? So that's kind of funny. That's where that started from, was me being scared to death I was going to forget one of his records, you know, like in order. And that's the way I used to do it back when I first started the show. Is I was so like militant, like I got to know every album and talk about every record in order. And I really did that because it was like lack of experience. You know, I was like, I don't know how to make this conversation flow. So I'm going to have a structure of, here's your first record, here's your second record. And now when I interview people, I still do that, but it's not, I don't worry as much about it. I want more of a just kind of how Joe Rogan or Howard Stern, just kind of free flowing conversation. So anyway, yeah. So Michael Sweet was the first big guy. And that's funny that you say old, because now I think about, I'm getting old. So it's weird. Like I got to start interviewing younger guys or younger people.
No, dude, like people love to see these legends. Maybe old wasn't the right word. Maybe just like
that's cool.
Experienced metal musicians.
No,
but man, like you've had people like Rich Ward and Brian Head Welch from Korn and just all sorts of people. Ricky Rackman from MTV. So you've had all these like big people. Who's been your favorite guest so far?
So far, I think my favorite, I don't know if it was favorite guest or because there's so many to choose from, but I think my favorite experience as far as having people on the show would be when I had Brian Welch from Korn, Morgan Rose, drummer of Seven Dust, Rich Ward from Fozzy and Suck Mojo. I somehow lined all those guys up on the same day. And I was like, I don't need to be in this episode. Like this is too good. This is gold. I don't want to mess this up. And they were asking me last minute, dude, you're not going to sit with us. I'm like, no, nobody wants to see me. I have you guys all together. And Korn was playing the next day. So I had Brian Welch from Korn there, and I just, Morgan was there. And that for me, that was my favorite. My favorite episode was the one I wasn't on, which is kind of funny. So
dude, that's awesome. I actually edited that episode, and you're in it. You introduced them.
Oh, I introduced them. Yeah.
You have this funny wig on.
Yeah, I was wearing a wig, but you made it look great because, you know, it's funny. When we got done, I was talking to my brother about that, and I was like, should I have worn that wig? And he was like, I don't know. And I was all worried about it. And your edit, whenever I got it, I was like, hey, that's pretty funny. So you did great on that, dude. Thank you.
No problem. And the best part of that episode is at the very end, Head has to go take a shit.
That is great. And he's telling Isaac, turn my mic off. And what's funnier than him not even stopping, just like, I gotta go right now. What the funniest part of me is watching Rich Ward keep the conversation going. Like he never stops. Like he's like, I gotta go. Morgan Rose is dying laughing, and Rich Ward is like, so there I was, right there. Like, I don't know. He just keeps talking. So that just,
it was incredible. Head leaves, the camera like follows him, and
which was great.
Camera goes back to Rich, and Rich just goes, party on. And
party on.
Continues the interview, and then that's it.
Morgan's like, we got to leave that in. Like, Morgan's not even listening to what Rich is saying. He's like, we got to leave that in. I mean, this has got to stay on, right?
Yeah, it's hilarious. And my favorite part was that Head, like, he looked like a 5-year-old kid because, you know, like they hold their butt whenever they go to the bathroom. And so he's over here like a grown man and just running to the bathroom like, I gotta go, man. It's about to come out.
Really holding his butt, walking, going, turn my mic off.
Oh my gosh!
But what's
have you?
Let me tell you this real quick.
Yeah.
That was the second time Head's been at my house. The first, I had him over before that, and he was at my house all day. I think I counted. He was at my house probably 8 hours. I mean, we went on the lake. We had lunch, dinner. It was amazing. But what's funny about that is in the middle of all this, or that day, he told me he was like, I'm going to take a nap or something. I don't know. He's going to take a nap. It was the middle of the day. Whatever. That's cool. All good. I'm going to go upstairs. I go upstairs and my wife and kids are gone. They're at Disney, actually. So I think they're at Disney. I can't remember, but they're gone. So I'm upstairs and I get hungry. And I forgot that all the barbecue we ordered that day is downstairs in the kitchen. So I'm like, okay, I'm just going to go real quiet to the basement, grab some barbecue, go back upstairs, try not to wake up freaking head from corn. So I go down there and he's sitting at the bar, no TV's on, dead quiet. He's not on his phone. He's just sitting there. And I saw it. I'm like, hey man, are you good? And he looks up at me and he goes, this is exact words he said. He goes, I just took a massive dump in your bathroom. Sorry about that. And then he reaches in his pocket. He goes, I got some corn guitar picks. And he hands them down. And I was like, this is epic. Like, oh, this is amazing.
Wait, he gave those to you as an apology?
I guess so. Like he just said, I took his exact words were massive dump. I just took a massive dump. Sorry about that. And then he puts his hand in his pocket and pulls out literally like probably 20 corn picks and slaps them down the counter and goes, but I got you some guitar picks, though. Sorry about that.
Oh my gosh,
this is amazing.
I like that every good head story is is like a poop story.
Yes, dude, totally.
That's funny. So did you get your barbecue?
I did get the barbecue, and the great thing is, so the first time he came over, he was a little weirded out by it because I got him on the show because of Mikey from Islander. Mikey from Islander set that whole thing up, which is amazing. So when Brian Welch came over the first time, I mean, he showed up in my house wearing his sunglasses almost the whole time. So he was a little sketch, like, I don't know you guys. This is, it was very awkward. But eventually, after freaking all day, we warmed up and it's all great. Second time he came over, though, he was like, hey, what's up, man? What's up, Scott? So it was really cool seeing him the second time, just because it was like seeing an old friend kind of thing.
Dude, that's awesome. And Mikey's actually going to be on our show on Tuesday, by the way, everyone. So if you're watching this.
Sweet.
So I have friends with Mikey. Can you hear me, Scott?
Yeah, I can hear you now. I'm sorry. You faded out there for once.
Oh, sorry about that. I just asked you, how did you become friends with Mikey?
So Mikey is an interesting story. I was early on when I first started the show. Oh, this is great, man. This is a great story. Great for me. I don't know if people care, but I'll make it short.
Thank
you. When Mikey came around early on in the show, when it was like, I was only had like maybe 7 or 8 episodes finished. At that point, I really didn't know what I was doing or anything. And my brother, I went to a Korn show. Korn played their first album from start to finish at the Masquerade. I went to that show, Islander Open. I saw, Mikey singing. I was like, man, this is amazing. I love this. And I told my brother that. My brother loves Islander. He's kind of like, see, I told you, man, Islander's awesome. Funny enough, Nathan Mowry was at that same show. And Nathan told me he didn't know Mikey. So we were all 3 at that show. None of us knew each other. And so kind of fast forward, I remember like the next week I was trying to think of people to have on the show. And I was like, I really love Islander. And they seemed like at that point I didn't have any. I mean, I had, the Michael Sweet from Stryper. I had a couple big guys, but I needed people that weren't massive. And there's no disrespect to Islander. I just needed somebody that I could think would maybe want to be on my show. And so I kind of messaged him on social media. And he agreed, which was awesome. And the funny thing is, he didn't know me. And I'm like, hey, you want to come to my basement, my creepy basement kind of deal? So he brought, and he's not the only person. A lot of people have done this, brought security. Like they don't say security, but they bring someone else with them. And then later on, they tell me, oh, that was security. That was somebody, if you were going to try to, it puts lotion on the skin. So he brought Nathan, and I wasn't getting
Wait,
along.
Nathan was his security?
Nathan was his security. Yeah. Nathan was the bodyguard.
That's amazing.
And so when Nathan came over, the original guy we had that was filming my show, There's a couple issues, I just didn't. I don't know. That's another story. But I remember when Nathan, me and him connected that day, and he was telling me once he told me I filmed the Fozzy stuff, the Fozzy videos, and he was kind of giving me kind of his background on what he does. I remember thinking, okay, I'm going to use you. You're going to film. I'm going to get you to film my show. And sure enough, after he left, and I eventually just reached out to him, and I was like, do you want to do my show? I think it was in early, maybe 2018, maybe. And he was like, of course. Yes, that sounds awesome. And man, I'm so glad, because what Nathan and the guys he uses, you and everybody, I'm kind of forgetting people's names, but yeah. So anyway, that's my Mikey story, Mike. And then ever since then, Mikey's been hooking me up with these freaking awesome interviews. I mean, he's the one that got me head and HR and ton of people. So thank you, Mikey.
And yeah, shout out to Mikey, definitely. So you eventually brought on Nathan to do the show. How much was the quality jump whenever Nathan came on?
So that's funny. When Nathan, would you say how much was the quality with that show? Is that what you asked?
Or how much was the quality jump when Nathan came on?
That's interesting. When Nathan, if you go back and watch, Nathan's very first episode was with Corey Lowry. Mm-hmm. Corey Lowry plays in C there now. And the quality at first, just being 100% honest, it was a learning experience on how to set up, because I was used to how the other guys set up, and I was almost encouraging them to set up like the old style, and I knew they didn't want to, and I quickly realized that. So I was like, you guys just do your own thing. The very first episode wasn't as great, but I'm telling you, every episode Nathan and you guys do has gotten better and better. And I don't even mean better and better. Now it's to the point now it's like, this is unreal. I mean, you guys are amazing at what you do.
Thank you.
And yes. And then that brings and I always tell Nathan, I'm like, dude, you guys do better than me. So it's like amazing footage, no pressure. Now I gotta deliver now. Cause I mean, you guys, I mean, it's amazing. I've had people tell me that the show looks like it definitely needs to be on Netflix, just the quality wise. I'm like, holy crap, man.
Yeah, it's really good. Like for people that don't know, we have a 3-camera setup, and we got our friend Isaac Horner. He does like the audio. It's incredible. And then we got Nathan and Julian Fideli on the camera, and occasionally I come to help out or do Slate or something like that. But it is a blast to be on the set of Good Company, because Scott, every time we come, Scott always like brings us food. He's always got like he got like a metallic pinball machine, and got a really funny story about the Metallica pinball machine. I would love for you to tell everyone.
Okay, yeah. So and we said this on the basement episode too, but you did an amazing job on that, by the way.
Dude, thanks. That was really fun. Yeah, go watch it if you haven't.
Yes, definitely. So I bought the pinball machine in like July. It was just hot. It was amazingly hot. And, anyway, I bought it late at night, and then it was one of those things like, I gotta get it. I'm just gonna do it. So I buy it, and then I'm like, okay, now I gotta tell the wife what I just did. I tell you buy a pinball machine. That's like buying furniture. It's like that's a chunk of something in your house that if you're married, you need to kind of discuss first. So I didn't discuss it, and then and so I think my wife called me, or no, I told her. I think I eventually told her, and then I was at work one day, and she goes, "There's like a 18-wheeler. I sound country. There's an 18-wheeler.
That old 18-wheeler.
Oh,
I'm from Tennessee. I know what you mean.
Yeah, dude, this thing backs up, and it's on a pallet and everything. I'm like, oh man. And so anyway, it gets delivered. I get home and I see this thing just sitting in the driveway on a pallet, 100-degree weather. And my wife's like, I'm kind of giving you guys a long version of this, but I'll wrap it up. Anyway, she's saying, just wait until the next day. I'm going to get my brother or my dad or somebody. We'll get some help or whatever. I'm like, cool, but that's not good, man. I'm like, there's a Metallica pinball machine in my driveway. I have to get this thing in my house. I got to do it. And so and it's 100 degrees, right? So I'm doing this thing on a little hand truck, trying to move this thing around, trying to get it upstairs. I'm dying. I get it inside the house, and she doesn't know. She's off in her own world, and she doesn't know what I'm doing. I'm trying to be quiet about this thing because, anyway. So I start going down the stairs, down our weird winery stairs that goes around and around, and it won't go down the stairs. It's too big. It won't turn. It won't go around the corner. So I have to go back up all these stairs. Anyway,
Oh man.
I go out. I take it all the way outside on this little hand truck, go all the way around my yard. And I'm dying at this point, man. And to get it, and I'm so tired by the time I get it around the house. There's just one little stair. I had to get it up into the basement, but I'm so tired. I set it down and I can't get it back up. And I was like, it weighs 1,000 pounds. And I'm just like, I'm like, my arms are shaking and I barely get it inside. And you can see sweat just dripping on this Metallica pinball machine. And anyway, that's the story. I set it up. It's like I did it.
No, dude, that was hilarious. I love that. Yeah, you told it in the basement video, and that was so good, man. I made Scott tell that story like 3 different times for the video.
Oh, thank you, man.
But yeah, man. So what's in the future for Good Company? Like, what do you want to see happen in the next couple of years?
I'd like to see, first of all, this coronavirus thing just seems to, I can't do anything right now because of it. And so I can't wait to have people over again. And what the future of the show, I don't know, man. That's a great question. I did one episode where I did a tour bus thing with Striper. I interviewed all the guys on the bus. So in the future, I'd like to kind of take this thing on the road a little bit. Me and Nathan were talking about trying to get Corey Taylor from Slipknot and Stone Sour. And we're talking actually going to Vegas and shooting the episode. So where this thing goes, I'd like to take it kind of out. A lot of people can't come to my house because they're on tour. So in the future, I'd love to do more tour bus interviews, maybe go to people's houses and stuff, and maybe get paid for the show. Because it's an expensive hobby, of course. So, and down the road, having someone pick it up like a streaming service or something like that, that would be amazing. But I'm not kind of giving my hopes up on that. But that's kind of
the show is top notch. Like, you definitely, I think you deserve for the show to be heard and to be seen. So I'm sure if you keep going, like, something will eventually happen.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, that would be awesome, man. So the show is based on music, and it's based on mostly your music taste. So, like, where do your music tastes originate from?
So I guess that you're talking about like what my earliest influences kind of thing. Is that
yeah.
So my brother's 5 years older than me, and my mom and dad listen to music. My dad, he listened to, just what he kind of listened to country and stuff like that. And back in the day, I was definitely not for country. Now I am. I like it's cool, but really my earliest influences are from my mom, who listened to like a lot of oldies, and my brother, who was 5 years older than me. My brother, he listened to a lot of the early 80s bands and stuff. So I did, and then he started going to church. So then he started listening to like kind of like Solid State and Tooth and Nail, all these more of these Christian heavier bands. So that's where a lot of my influences come from, these Christian kind of, early bands, even stuff like DC Talk, which I've had Kevin Max on the show. So my influence is basically, I always looked up to my brother. He's 5 years older than me. So whatever he listened to, I listened to. And so that's why I kind of have that. That's why I kind of listen to everything now. That's why I always go back, and I love oldies. I love rock. I love like old rap and stuff like that. And music was always kind of like, that was just something I always gravitated towards, because my brother was always into computers and he was kind of like the computer guy. And music just came very natural to me. So it's just, that's always just been my thing. I never had to try. I never was like, I'm going to play guitar because that's what someone else is doing. I did that stuff just because it was just so natural to me. And yeah. And I love all music. So I've always, I know I'm kind of rambling here, but I've always just like everything. So I've always thought it's weird, like have you ever thought like when people are like, I only listen to one kind of music, like you have somebody just listens to rap. I always think that's weird. I'm like, so that's all you listen to? Like, his music is so, it's so big, so many colors to music, and so I don't know. Anyway,
Yeah, that's awesome. I kind of was the same way. I wasn't a huge fan of country. My dad loves like bluegrass and country, and I was in it like at one point in my childhood, but then like when I joined youth group, everybody was like, "No, man, you need to listen to like Hawk Nelson and Skillet. That's where the bad boys listen to." So I was like, I want to be cool, listen to metal and stuff like that. So I started listening to that, and all my metalhead friends were like, "Dude, don't listen to rap. Don't listen to country. That stuff is crap." And I was like, "Yeah, it is. Like, screw that." And um,
did you always go to church? Like, how did you get involved with church, man?
yeah, I kind of grew up in church.
Did
Is
your family go?
Yeah, my family, they also grew up in church, so and they still go to church, but I grew up a Southern Baptist,
Oh,
and
wow.
yeah, I kind of derailed from that. Like I still keep my faith, but I'm just not into the whole denomination thing. I don't believe in that really anymore.
So,
So that's
so
kind of where I come from.
I was gonna say Southern Baptist. That's where, like, when you brought up Skillet, you're like, Skillet. That's the devil music right there.
Yeah, we were a different kind of youth group. The youth group was like very much separated from the rest of the church. It was pretty crazy. Like we'd come to church and like these Skillet t-shirts like during the service, and all the older people are probably looking at us like, what are these devil worshippers doing here?
I remember seeing
And
Skillet played in Gainesville once back on their first album. I think the cover of the album was a big Skillet. It was a
yeah,
big Skillet. I don't know if you ever seen that, but yeah, they played with Audio Adrenaline in Gainesville, in the Gainesville Square back in the day, man.
dude, that's awesome. What was it? What was early Christian music like? Because I got into it in like the early and late 2000s. What was it like? Or I'm guessing you kind of got a taste of it in like the 90s, right?
Definitely, man, and even the '80s. But there's a
Mhm.
great documentary that Tooth and Nail has, and gosh, I can't think of the name of it. But Tooth and Nail had like all the punk bands and heavy bands.
Mhm.
So like MXPX. And my mind's gone blank right now, but yeah, there was just a lot of, when I listened to Christian music in the '90s, ska seemed like was the major thing, like Supertones and all those kind of bands. It just seemed like punk ska was massive. But then my brother liked a lot of like alternative Christian music, like Prayer Chain, which I've had this guys on my show, one of them on my show. And yeah, so the '90s was awesome. I loved the Christian scene. I think Nathan listened to a lot of '90s Christian as well.
Mhm.
But anyway, man, my brain is going blank right now. But yeah, there was a lot of great bands in the '90s to check out, and I still listen to them.
Oh yeah, and I didn't really get into the heavier stuff until I was like I said, in youth groups. So um, I didn't really have any music taste before that. My dad loves 80s music, and that's where I got my love for 80s music as well. Like anytime me and my dad would go to a Braves game or go on some kind of trip, on the way there, we'd listen to like Queen and
Dude, me too.
like Billy Joel, Elton John. Like my dad loves that stuff. So really fun road trips whenever that we'd go on. So that's
That
where I kind of developed my music taste early on.
Dude, that's how I am. And the very first concert I ever went to, I like to say it's a concert, but it was a Braves game. And when they got done, the Beach Boys, they rolled out
What?
stage. Yeah, and they did it every year in the '80s. Man, it was like a certain, and the Beach Boys would play, and that was the first show. And I remember me and my cousin would be too cool. We're like, oh, this Beach Boys, whatever. And I left to go to the bathroom or something. I came back, and he didn't know I was there, and I saw him like all into it. He was just like, "Don't worry, baby." Like he was going nuts. But when I came back, he's like, "Yeah, this sucks, man. Whatever."
He wanted to look cool in front of you.
Yeah. Oh, I have a question for you, Trevor.
For me, this is the you show today.
This is but man, I'm dying to know this. You did a video for The Weeknd. How did this happen? Did you get in touch with him?
Oh no, I just kind of
You just made one.
yeah, I didn't get permission from him.
Oh, okay. I was like, holy crap, man. He's like with The Weeknd now or something. Yeah.
No, I just put the song on there because I really like it.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
cool.
I do not have connections to The Weeknd. For everyone in the dark about that, I made a video with Nathan where he smashed these milk cartons together, and then he just like dumped them on his face like Stone Cold Steve Austin, like he does with the beer. And I played The Weeknd's Blinding Lights, and I put all these crazy 80s effects over it. So I guess Scott actually thought I worked with The Weeknd.
Dude, I did. No, that fooled me.
That's hilarious. I actually I made a video a while back. Have you heard of the comedian Bo Burnham?
Say it again.
Have you heard of the comedian Bo Burnham?
Bill Burnham.
No, Bo Burnham.
No, I haven't.
Oh, he's one of my favorites. But I used one of his songs because he does music with his comedy too, and I like slowed it down. And the video is inspired by one of his bits that he does. And in the description, I put inspired by Bo Burnham. And I don't know how people got this, but people were messaging me being like, dude, how are you working with Bo Burnham? That's crazy. I'm like, I don't think you guys know what inspired by means. So it was crazy, man.
That's funny.
Yeah. So I don't know if you can tell me, but what are some other artists that you've emailed to be on the show that just never saw the light of day? Either you didn't get a response or they just like flat out told you no.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, I'm sure there's more, but the very first one I can think of is John 5. And John 5, for people who don't know, John 5 is done. He's played with a ton of people. He's a guitar player, a studio guitar player. He was Marilyn Manson's guitar player. He's a guitar player currently of Rob Zombie. He was a guitar player of David Lee Roth. He does so much studio work. I think he's even done like I don't know. He's done music for like all the way back to like, oh man, for like certain sitcoms. I don't want to say it because I'll probably mess up which show it was. Anyway, in my world, he's massive and he's just an amazing guitar player. When I reached out to, usually I'm kind of DIY, like I've just reached directly to him, but he gave me his manager or something, and I'm kind of glad they said no, but it was early on. And basically was told that I don't have a far enough reach. I don't have, enough. My show is not big enough, basically. And it was just like, oh, that stinks. But they said, keep in contact with us, and down the road, we'll have them on your show. Which, so at the time I was a little disappointed, but now I'm like, okay, I'm kind of glad because I want to get better and better and have him on the show. So he's the first one I can think of where. And then I've reached out to a lot of people that are kind of silly that said no, which is kind of funny. Not no, but I got cold shoulder. This is corny, all right, but this is just how I think. I was like, what if I had funny people on? Not funny, but Vanilla Ice. I was like, I want Vanilla Ice on my show.
No way.
I was like, massive. He's in Miami or Florida or somewhere. It's not far. And so I reached out to him several times. Nothing. And then I was like, all right, I'm going to have MC Hammer. MC Hammer is going to be on Good Company. I don't know if you know who that is, but he was big around the time.
Can't touch this.
Yes. No way. He's not going to be on my show. I was like, oh, I can't even get those people on the show that I just would think that would be cool to have. One day I'm going to have Vanilla Ice on my show.
Dude, that would be so awesome. You got to get him to do the ninja rap from Ninja Turtles.
Yes, I love that when I was
go ninja, go. When he gets here, you should dress up as a ninja.
I'm sure he'd love that, yeah.
He'd probably be like, is this really what you think my career is?
What if I dressed up as a ninja in the interview and then I had to take a massive dump like head and I'm like in the middle of the interview with my Ninja Turtle outfit, I'm like, I got to take a dump. Hold on.
Dude, have you heard all the behind the scenes stories on that movie with him?
With him on no, I haven't.
On the Ninja Turtle. Apparently he was like a big diva. Like I can't remember everything. Don't quote me on this, but yeah. he said he could only be on set for a certain amount of hours, and they can only do like a certain amount of takes. He had to have this and this and this on set. And apparently he was like a nightmare to work with.
That is so funny. Who knew? Yeah. I mean, that movie's massive, like he would probably love to be on some big set like that again now. That's hilarious. Do you remember that movie he was on, Cool as Ice?
No.
Oh yeah.
That was a thing?
Yeah, he was the main star, Cool as Ice. Oh,
what did he do?
he was the bad boy, and he fell in love with the Gwen. I think Gwyneth Paltrow was supposed to be his love interest, but she didn't do the movie or something like that. I heard that, like, she turned down the role. But he's this bad guy, and he said his biggest line in the whole movie, cool as ice. You know what it is? He
What?
tells the girl, because she has a boyfriend, he goes, "Drop that zero and get with a hero." That's his line.
Dude, you've got to be kidding me.
Yeah, when he
I'm
said
looking.
that, I thought it was amazing. I was like, that's the coolest thing I've ever heard before.
Oh my
Cool
gosh.
guys. You see it?
Yeah, I'm trying to find what they made him do on set, or what Vanilla Ice like insisted for the Ninja Turtles movie. I don't know why I can't find it. Maybe he like took it off the internet
And stuff. Separate all the
But
colors and
anyway.
stuff.
Look it up later.
Sweet.
Yeah, Vanilla Ice, like, he just seems like a douche to me.
Yeah, dude.
He looks like one. He acts like one.
So let me ask you something. If Vanilla Ice
Yeah.
comes here, are you gonna be like, "I'm good, man. I'm just gonna edit. I'll stay home." You're gonna show up, right? If he shows up.
No, heck, I'm gonna show up. I'll be there an hour before it even starts.
Oh, that's good. That's awesome, man.
I'll hang out with Vanilla. I'll take a picture with him and be like, "Yo, look at me hanging out with Vanilla Ice."
We should all get like the whole crew to be a different Ninja Turtle when they film the show.
Oh my gosh. I think he would immediately leave if we did that. God, that would be so funny. So who are some other people that you like? What's your process? Let me ask you this. What's your process of emailing? Like, what do you say? What are your magic words?
My magic words is I'll pay for your flight kind of deal. I usually, social media is good, and all those kind of cold calling, and I've gone to websites and done the contacts. That rarely works. It has worked before. I got Shifty from Crazy Town, Seth Shifty, whatever, from Crazy Town, just by going on Instagram and reaching out to him. And now that I have so many episodes, it's easier now because I can just give him the website and be like, "Look, this is legit." The best way to get people on my show is word of mouth. So people like Mikey was amazing because he just went out to all his contacts, like Jacoby from Papa Roach. All these people, Matt Penfield. I grew up watching Matt Penfield, and he just called him up and said, here's his email, and that was the best way. It's just friends, you know. So, and that's how I got, like, when I interviewed Seth from Crazy Town. Crazy Town was that band in the early 2000s that had Butterfly. That was a massive song for him. I interviewed
My butterfly, sugar, baby.
Oh yeah. So I interviewed Seth, and then Seth goes, "Hey man, I'm friends with DJ Lethal from Limp Bizkit. Would you want him on your show?" And I was like, "Yes." And I literally had DJ Lethal from Limp Bizkit at my house 2 weeks later. So it's really, just word of mouth, you know, because they trust each other, right? Obviously, they're friends, you know, like, I'm friends with this guy. So that works way better than some random person trying to reach out to you, you know?
Yeah, that's kind of what I've been doing with this show. I've been emailing a lot of like YouTubers and people that I grew up watching to be on the show. And so far, I've only had like 2 people. Like, you probably not heard of this show, but there's a show called Sugar Pine 7 on YouTube. It was really big like 2 years ago, but we're going to have James DeAngelis on the show tomorrow, and I'm really excited about that.
Oh, sweet. I got to check that out, man.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. If you've ever watched a vlog, it's like that, except on steroids. Like they don't play themselves. They play like characters, and there's like plots and character development. It's crazy, but it's really funny.
That sounds really cool.
Yeah. But yeah, dude, going back to you. So who was like the nicest person you've met so far, like that came on set, or no, let me ask you this. So who's somebody that kind of defied your expectations whenever they came on set? Was there anyone that you were like, "Wow, you're actually like this"?
Yeah, that would be the first person. There's a lot of people, but when you ask me these questions, I just tell you the first person that pops in my
Yeah,
brain.
totally.
That would be Clint Lowry, Seven Dust. He was by far, and he's been on the show multiple times, even with Nathan. But he is the kind of guy that is so nice and so just genuine. He's like a brother. And when I say brother, you know, like when you have a brother, like a real brother that just kind of is there for you and wants the best for you.
Mhm.
Totally Clint. But besides that, he is a comedian and he is hilarious. And so when he's been at the house doing interviews, and he'll joke all the way up until we got to record. And so when we do, I'm trying not to try not to laugh. It's almost like an SNL skit. And if you watch some like my old videos, I'm laughing because it's like when somebody is so goofy and funny all the time, and then it's like, okay, take one, let's go. It's like, oh, I gotta not laugh. But so anyway, yeah, he's the first person I can think of, Clint Lauer, and he's still helped me, even with the theme song of my show, Talking Good Company. When you watch a Good Company episode, you'll hear his voice, and he made that for me. He just did the intro music. Anyway, I've always seen him, like you were saying, like somebody I expected him. I've always seen him that way on camera and behind the scenes, because I always do behind the scenes stuff for Seven Dust albums. And he always comes off on those as nice and funny. And when he came here, he was just so nice and welcoming. It was just like a long old lost friend or something. I don't know.
That's awesome, man. And by the way, you have the best theme song ever. Like, it is so catchy. Me and Nathan, we just like run through the house singing and screaming that song so many times. It's hilarious.
Dude, that's awesome. I also love how you were telling me before that you and Nathan have an inside joke about me. Whenever you're bringing someone new to the house, you're like, and I'm with the man.
Oh man, I missed this opportunity. So Nathan told me to start the show off today with saying, I'm here with the man, Scott Bowling. So yeah, Scott has this thing. Every time he starts his show, usually if it's with a guy, he says, "Oh, what's going on, everybody? I'm Scott Bowling, and you're with good. I'm stuttering. What is wrong with me? I'm Porky Pig today." You say, "I'm Scott Bowling, and I'm here with the man." And he says that every time. I want to put it in a compilation where you just say, "I'm here with the man, the man, the man, the man."
Let's do that.
I really will.
All right, let's do it. I'll talk to you afterwards. We're gonna make that's gonna be the next episode.
Heck yeah,
man,
that'll be really funny,
dude. Okay, I don't mean to interrupt you.
Go ahead.
I wrote something in my note. I made notes for this because I'm so used to interviewing people. I write notes now. Anyway, This is the only notes I have to ask you, or to not ask you, just to point this out. You came over to my house when we did the Cribs episode.
Yeah.
For people that don't know, Trevor ate an entire large pizza for one little piece. I was like, holy crap, you're going to eat all that? And you just kept going and going. You're like, yeah, I can't believe this. I've never done this in my life. And there was this little, like, in my mind, it's like, it keeps getting smaller and smaller, this piece. I'm like, there's like a little baby slice. I'm like, you ate this entire pie and you only have this little tiny piece, man, to go. And you're like, nothing. It ain't going to happen. I'm not.
So here's the thing. I could have definitely finished it, but I was already so ashamed that I ate most of the pizza that I was like, I'm not doing this anymore. Like, I'm done. Oh my gosh. Yeah, we were Scott is very hospitable and very caring for his guests. And so every time I come over, Scott's just got food. And I get over here and he's like, got pizza. And I was like mildly hungry. And then I've like an hour later, I just see my look at the pizza box and it's like halfway gone. And I'm like, what have I done?
No, and didn't you ask me, like, did you eat any of it? And I was like, nah, that's
I wouldn't doubt it. Cause I mean, that's hilarious. Like, did you eat any of this or is this all my doing? And I just like got half a pizza. I like look down and make sure I haven't gained like 30 pounds in one night. I went for a run the next day.
You sweated like grease and oil, I don't know, on the way home.
Oh, probably. I probably broke out in acne after that. What else you got in your notes since you like wrote down some things?
That's it, man. That's the only thing I got. I was like, make sure to bring up Trevor eating an entire large pizza.
You made it seem like you wrote down like 50 things throughout the day.
I woke up with a notepad next to me.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's such a funny story. So Scott, I think that's a good segue to talk about your basement. So I came over to Scott's house. Scott has the most magnificent basement I've ever seen in my life. It is It's like a hard rock cafe and a rock and roll Hall of Fame memorabilia place. So Scott, like I know we can't like show it right now. I'll definitely I'll link the Cribs video and
Yeah,
the video below whenever I upload this to YouTube. Or actually, I can put it in the chat right now.
that video right before this coronavirus happened. I mean, it was that's the last time we shot anything in my house was that. So,
well, no, we did your frame video.
Oh, we did. You're right.
Yeah.
I forgot about that. Okay, so the frame's the last one. Yeah. I just remember you were the last person actually, not my family, be here.
That's hilarious. But yeah, so we made this video and or wait, where's the chat? And I was already blown away by Scott's basement, but after like filming him doing this tour, I was just like, this is history, like in this building right here. So Scott, how did this basement come to be? And like, do you remember your very first piece that you hung up?
I do. Yeah. So I've been collecting frames and stuff for a while. It was actually my old house too. What's it? 2020. I've been collecting frames probably about 15 years.
Nice. Also, my dad just joined. Hey, Dad.
Hey. That's cool.
Anyway, continue.
Computer savvy. My parents were like, "What? I don't know all that." But no, probably one of the first ones I did, and my favorite one by far is I had a guitar. I used to love the Deftones, so I would actually, me and Carl takes my pictures. Carl Smith, you know him, Trevor. I think
shout out to Carl. He rocks.
Shout out to Carl. But me and Carl would follow the Deftones on the road. Literally, we would go to different shows in the summer, and I bought a good Deftones. Stephen Carpenter, a guitar player, Deftones used to have a series of different guitars. I bought the cheapest one because at the time I didn't have any money, so I bought one of his cheaper models, and I followed them around trying to get them to sign the guitar. I didn't know anybody in the band. We made friends with one of their roadie guys, and he basically helped us. And over time, I got everybody to sign this guitar, which is a commitment, man. If you're going to a concert with a freaking guitar, trying to get people to sign it, that's only something I did back in the day. Now I'm too lazy. I'm like, I'm not going to carry this thing around. And eventually I got the whole band to sign it. The bass player signed it. And the reason I bring up the bass player is in 2000, maybe 13 or somewhere around there, he got in a car crash, went into a coma, and eventually passed away. So long story short, I have this guitar with his signature on it, with the whole band signed, and I got it framed. So that's my favorite. I don't know if you asked me what my favorite one was, but that's one of the first ones I got framed, and it's my favorite. So it's kind of answer to two questions, maybe. So that's on.
Yeah, just ask what your first one was.
So it's my first one, and it's my favorite one.
Dude, that's awesome. But dude, you got some incredible pieces. I think right behind you have, I think it's the Foo Fighters' first tape, right? Something like that.
Yes. Actually moved that one recently. It's actually on the lower down. Yeah. So it's a Foo Fighters demo. It's not even Foo Fighters. It's Dave Grohl's demo he did while he was with Nirvana, and I think it's called. Oh, it's over there now. Hold on. Oh. It's called Late, Late. He did a demo called Late, and it came out in 91, and he didn't promote it heavy because he was just joining Nirvana, so he didn't promote it at all. And I somehow found the demo to that before Foo Fighters, and you can find it on YouTube, the songs. So if anybody's listening that's a Foo Fighter, Dave Grohl fan, Nirvana fan, if you go on YouTube, type in Late, Late, Dave Grohl, you can listen to that entire record. So,
dude, that sounds freaking rare. How did you get that?
I'm a huge Dave Grohl fan. That's the guy I want on my show. That'd be amazing to have him.
Dude, I want him on my show.
Yeah, I absolutely. Who doesn't, man? He seems like the kind of guy. When you're asking me, like, people, like the genuine people that you, I don't know. He just seems like he's such a great guy that I think if I did meet him, if he was on your show or my show, he would be that same way. Like, I can't see him being a diva.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
He seems so genuine.
Yes, dude. Yeah. So,
dude, that's awesome. And you've also got signatures from everyone from Nirvana.
Yeah. So when my wife and I, we need to start doing this again, her and I, but once a year we would travel and see concerts because that's our thing. Well, it used to be our thing. Now it's kind of slowed down, but we would, we've been to Vegas, New York. We go to different places, and and see big shows, you know. So we went and saw Billy. We saw Billy Joel and Hall and Oates because we're getting old now. I don't know. I grew up on that stuff, so we saw them.
I'd see that. That's awesome.
Yeah, man. And so the long story short, there was when we went and it's kind of like Disney when you go to Disney World and you get done with your ride, or right before you go on the ride, they have all those shops for kids, all these stuffed animals and all this crap there that costs too much money. But they purposely put that right there, right? So your kids see it and go nuts. We went to Madison Square Garden, I think, and they had this shop that was open, big store, had all these massive frames and everything by signatures of all these bands. It looked like my basement in a store right before we walk in. And I was like, I've got to go in that store right now. Like I walk in there and I was just blown away. And it was just, I was like, oh my gosh. I wanted so much stuff there. And I saw two things I got there. I saw Nirvana Nevermind signed by the band framed. And it has a picture of the owner getting it signed. Like they're so legit on all this stuff. Like they're like, I don't know. They make it seem like this is not fake. You know, this is real. And the prices look real too. So, and they're all like, we'll ship it to your house. You don't even have to worry about nothing. We'll ship it right to you. No. So yeah. So I got a couple of things through this traveling, which is the best too when you travel and they ship you.
Oh yeah. What was the second thing you got?
The second thing was Pearl Jam. So I'm a 90s guy. I mean, I was born in the 80s, but 90s was my big deal. So Pearl Jam and Nirvana were big to me. So I had Nirvana, Nevermind, and Pearl Jam, their second album, Versus, framed, autographed. And so yeah, that's where I got it. The other stuff it's just been over time. I've just slowly collected stuff. And when I first moved into this, when we first got this basement done, I didn't have enough stuff to fill the walls. So I just started like kind of framing not great stuff. It was kind of like, all right. And so over time, it's just gotten better and better. You know, I get more, I don't know. I'm a collector. So I find stuff on eBay and obviously the guy that works the guy that lives down the street that frames all my stuff, me and him are like best friends now because I have so much stuff he frames. But yeah, it's just,
that's awesome.
It's just grown. Yeah.
That's incredible. So I was born in 94. That was the year Kurt killed himself. But what was that like whenever Nevermind was like the biggest album in the world? Like I can't imagine like how cool that was to like own that album. Cause I remember reading stories about how they like sold out everywhere. What was that time period like?
Oh, yeah. I remember that I was young too. I was only 12 when Nevermind came out, but that was massive for me. That was like a turning point when that album came out. And I remember, I just remember I was playing baseball. I was like doing like Little League baseball. I don't know if you call it Little League. I was 12. Is that Little League? That's Little League, right?
Maybe. Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, I just remember buying that record and that it was like Nirvana. It was I don't know. I don't want to ramble here. I keep saying ramble.
No, man, we're just here to talk.
When Nirvana Nevermind came out, my cousin and one of her friends really got me listening to, it was like all at once. It was like Pearl Jam 10, Nirvana Nevermind, and Rage Against the Machine's first album. And I was like, this is amazing. And I would just rotate all those records and it was just incredible. The funny thing is though, is you were born in 94, right?
Yeah.
That's my favorite year of music. Like all my favorite albums that I still listen to this day. I even made a Spotify. How do I say it, man? Spotify.
It's about to take off. Spotify.
Let's go, man. I believe I can fly. I made a playlist, a 1994 playlist.
Dude, can you send that to me?
Yes, dude. You can. I don't even have to. You can go on Spotify and type my name in, and you can. I think because I've done this with Nathan. Nathan makes playlists that I what do you call it, man? You subscribe or you just you follow? That's what I mean. You can go. I'll try to get with you later on this, but yeah, if you find me on Spotify and I have a playlist.
Yeah, I just found you.
Yeah,
you have a 1995 playlist.
I have a lot of playlists. Yeah, I got a 1995, 1998.
Yeah, there's 94. Let's see what's on here. You got Hole, Green Day, Offspring, Bad Religion, Korn, Meat Puppets, Weezer.
All those came out.
Pantera. Yeah, there's some more Green Day, Marilyn Manson, Biohazard, Rancid, Beastie Boys. Heck yes. That is
Yeah,
awesome.
and all those bands have a ton of albums, but those were all from '94 because '94 was like, I mean, I was right before I started driving. That was just a big year for me, man. That's the bands that inspired me the most, that make me love music now, I guess, you know. Isn't it weird like how the bands we love when we're a certain age, like we just always go back to? It's like there's no care in the world back then. You didn't have to worry about paying bills or doing nothing. It was just like, oh, look, this band's rules.
Yeah, I do that with a lot of like old TV shows and yeah, also music because it brings me back to those times of like, man, last time I listened to this song, I didn't have to pay rent.
All my underwear and socks just magically were folded every day and put back in the drawer, and just,
Yeah, for real.
it's a simple.
And I bet your car rides were really nice back then.
Oh yeah, what
Like,
say that?
just,
What did you say?
I said I bet your car rides were like really nice back then if you
Oh,
had all this music in your car.
oh yeah, yes.
Dude,
I
that's so
remember.
awesome.
I remember. I'll just say this real fast, but I remember when Nirvana's MTV Unplugged came out. I was in
Really?
I was in high school, I think, or somewhere, middle school, high school. And my mom, this is like only CDs, man, way before streaming or any MP3s or anything like that. And I remember like music would come out on Tuesdays, by the way. And I remember telling my mom, you got to get this Nirvana Unplugged. And she would pick me up from school and have it there. I was like, thank you. And the funny thing is there's another 90s band that I loved. And I remember telling my mom to get this, and she's like, I can't do that. The name of the band, Butthole Surfers. I was like, Mom, you're gonna go to Blockbuster Music. I used to work there too. You're gonna say, I need the latest Butthole Surfers. Please do that. I still remember asking her to say that. She was like, no, I can't do that. You know,
That reminds me when I would I remember one time I got sick and I couldn't go to school, and like I was like miserably sick, and my mom was like, or I was working at a grocery store and I handed my mom money. I was like, "Can you please go buy me this video game?" I think it was Halo Reach, and Halo's like a very violent game. It's rated M, and I remember my mom called me and she's like, "Do I have to get you this? It looks mean." And it was like literally just it said for one, it said it was rated M. Halo Reach was rated M, and you just have these like scary looking like cyborgs with guns. And my mom was like, "This looks mean," and I'm like 17, 16 years old.
yeah, your voice is all cracking. You're like, come on, Mom.
Come on, mom, I want Halo Reach. Oh yeah, I forgot to tell you this. So my dad in the comments said he saw Hall & Oates 2 in 1980 on the Voices tour.
Nice. Oh, that's
Yeah.
so great, man.
Yeah.
Now,
My dad saw a lot of cool stuff.
do you know, well, since your dad's on here, the Hall & Oates, I forgot to tell you this, was where I got this idea to do my show. Daryl Hall had a show on Access TV called Live at Daryl's House. So he would interview people, very short interviews, and then he would have the whole band. So if he interviewed you, your whole band would I'm sorry, not their band. He would have his own musicians. He would interview, and then he would play your songs with his guys, and he would play a couple of their songs and a couple of his songs together. And you can still see it, I think, somewhere online, but it used to be Live at Daryl's House. And that's where I totally skipped over this, but that's where the original idea came from. Cause I was like, when my buddy Kurt was like, you should film a show in your basement, I was thinking, oh, Live at Daryl's House. And if you look back at my old episodes, I would interview people and we would do acoustic songs because I was trying to do that. And eventually the interviews kind of took over because it was easier.
Nice.
Anyway.
And my dad just said, he watched that several times.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, you've never told me that. That's a really interesting way to be inspired by something, is like just an old TV show and bringing it to like modern times.
Yes. Well, no, the Live at Daryl's House is not that old. I mean, that came out. I was watching. I mean, that show Live at Daryl's House came out a few years ago.
Oh, really? Cool.
Yeah, it was out around the time I started Good Company. I was literally like trying to rip it off as it was coming out. I was like, "This is great."
Oh man,
I'm going to totally
that sounded like I pictured that coming out in like the 90s or something.
No, man, this is new. I mean, new. I mean, it was a few years ago.
Nice. So what are some of your other inspirations that you take from with like, Good Company or just, maybe the way you play your drums? Because I know you're a drummer. We kind of skipped over that.
Yeah, so I've always played music. I started playing guitar for a little bit, and then I'd start playing bass, and the music was kind of, and I was in a ton of bands too.
Hmm.
And the funny thing about, I'll keep this short because it can get boring, but I've always been in bands growing up. We've always done the shows, not cover bands. I was always in those bands like, we're gonna make it, kind of like we got our 12 songs, and I was probably in 2 or 3 different bands like that. And my issue with that is I was always like those two things. Like if we make it, I can't just like go on tour. Like I got like I always knew like I was going to work for my family. And my family has their own, my dad has his own computer company, kind of gave down to my brother and I was like, I know I'm going to do that. And the reason I kind of quit pursuing music, which I could have kept going, was being lazy. Like I was just lazy about it. Like bands had to get together and practice and all that. And I was just like, I don't want to practice all the time. I'm just kind of lazy about it. You know what I mean? Like it's a commitment. I mean, you're practicing all the time, and I just got burned out on it. And so
Hmm.
that's why this show was kind of great. When this kind of was like the next thing I do, like, oh, I'm just going to interview people. And so that's what I love. Because if we do these interviews once a month, I'm not showing up every week trying to practice Good Company. It's just something that's more of a fun hobby.
Yeah, and the other cool thing about Good Company is you get to play music with your heroes. Like you've played with like Clint Lowry and
Amazing.
a couple other people I can't think of.
Yeah, that was unreal. I actually played. It's on there too with Clint Lowry and his brother Corey Lowry, and
Mhm.
which they used to be in a band together years ago. And so many people are like, "Thank you for releasing that episode." I mean, to have those two guys back together doing music together, two brothers that used to be in a band together, then separated and went their own ways. Kind of, they were always brothers and friends or whatever. But Corey went to Seether. Corey went to a lot of bands. He went to Stuck Mojo, a bunch of bands. Anyway, to have those guys come back and just sit there, I was just blown away. I was like, man, I can't. I mean, I just like I can't believe this is happening right now. So yeah, that's been a
Is
blessing.
it Clint and Corey Lowry playing this day?
Yes,
Nice.
and that was and then they also did Christmas Day, which was massive because that was a huge Sevenda song that Clint wrote about his mom. So anyway, that was really special having them do that. Yeah, they did This Day too. Yeah, so we did a few songs.
Dude, that's awesome. So we're getting close to the end of the show, but I would like to show that clip because that sounds awesome. I'm gonna play it right now, if that's cool.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man. Sweet. All right, so this is from Scott's Good Company episode. This is not some random performance that they did. Scott like kind of orchestrated this. Am I right?
Yes, absolutely.
That's awesome. So here it is, Clint and Corey.
How did you lose yourself?
Can we talk while this is playing?
I'm sorry, what?
I didn't mean for you to stop. I was asking, can we talk while this is playing? Because I wanted to mention one little comment. When you first started it, and Clint did this big nod, he goes, I got it like this. It's because I kept coming in late. There was a weird like I kept messing the song up, so it was like take two. Okay, now come in.
That's awesome. Yeah, go ahead and give some live commentary while we're playing it. I'm gonna keep going. Can you hear it, by the way?
Yeah, I can hear. Perfect.
Okay, cool.
Give me 24 hours and I'll see you in hell. What's done is done. When my demons beat the skeletons, the world turns red. And it won't be long before the end starts drawing near. And I'm all alone. This day was long enough to feel a lifetime in. The sun's down and I'm give up.
Another thing is, like, if you look at Corey playing bass, it's that
This
Corey
world
doesn't
is
play the song.
wrong.
I think that's probably all kind of what Corey and I look staring at me like, hey, and I think this is how I play the part, you know.
Sorry, I have no idea what you were saying.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'll quit talking during it, man.
Oh, you're good.
I'm sorry about that.
No, dude, what were you saying?
If you notice, like, if anybody ever watches this video, like, and I'm not throwing Corey. Corey's an amazing bass player, but I'm talking more about myself. But if you notice that we're both, Corey and I are both staring at Clint because I'm just trying to like not mess up. It's just very like, it's not something we practice. It's just like, hey, I got this song of like, okay, yeah, let's do it. All right, let's go, let's do it. So it's very kind of like, I don't know. I just when I watch this, I just remember being kind of like a mixture of like, holy crap, I can't believe I'm playing with these guys, and I don't want to suck. You know?
No, man, you're doing great so far. I've not actually seen this video, so that's cool. All right, let's keep playing it.
You really light up when I'm down. I calm myself so I don't scream and really hit you home. I realize I've been a little insane, but I'm not alone. This day was long enough to fill a lifetime in. The sun's down and I'm give up. This world is wrong enough to watch a nightmare live, and I hope there's tomorrow. Some bridge you've burned. Time moves oh so slow. Seeing love simply feels his wrong. That sinner becomes my only hope. This day was long enough to fill a lifetime in. The sun's down and I give up. This world is wrong enough to watch a nightmare live, and I hope there's tomorrow. I hope there's tomorrow.
Hey, that was awesome.
Yeah, they did amazing. It's funny watching that because in
real.
the background, all the frames have moved. I do it every so often. I change everything out. So it's the background kind of cracks me up.
It's still really cool. Well, Scott, dude, thank you so much for being on. How'd you feel about the show, man?
Dude, this is awesome, man. You're great, dude. I
Thanks,
love it.
man.
It's fun.
Yeah, I'm trying to be a better host every single time, but yeah, man, that was such a cool performance.
I
Can't wait to see more good companies, especially after this coronavirus. Like, maybe you should do stuff like this, man. Like, interview people through your webcam or something.
Dude, that's sweet. I may do that, man. Seriously, this is really. I
totally.
love it.
Still my idea.
Hey, that's what I do, man. Live at Daryl's house. I'm gonna make mine.
Well, dude, Scott, thank you so much for being on, and thank you everyone for watching today. And please tune into the next episode. Please subscribe to the channel. And tomorrow we're gonna have James DeAngelis from Sugar Pine 7. So it's gonna be a really exciting episode. All right, see everyone. Thank you, Scott.
Thank you, Trevor. Appreciate it, man. What if I dressed up as a ninja in the interview and then I had to take a massive dump like head, and I'm like in the middle of the interview with my Ninja Turtle outfit. I'm like, I got to take a dump. Hold on.